There is a grave in the middle of Tokyo's financial district that no one has ever moved. Not because they forgot about it, because every time someone tried, people died. Tokyo feels safe. Clean streets, trains on time, lights everywhere at night. But underneath this city, the history never left. These are 5 places where the past never quite let go. Number 5. Toyama Park, Shinjuku. On the surface, Toyama Park is exactly what it looks like. A quiet green space in the middle of Shinjuku. A place where people walk their dogs in the morning and sit on benches in the afternoon. There is a small hill at its center called Hakoneyama. Children climb it on weekends. In 1989, construction workers digging near the park's edge pulled up something that stopped the project completely. Human skulls, thigh bones, more than 100 remains buried in the ground, right there in the middle of one of Tokyo's most densely populated neighborhoods. The site was the former location of the Imperial Japanese Army Medical School, and that school is believed to have housed a facility connected to Unit 731, the military unit that conducted biological and chemical experiments on living prisoners during World War II. The experiments included infecting prisoners with plague and anthrax, dissecting people while they were still alive, and testing the effects of extreme cold, pressure, and poison on human bodies. The victims were mainly Chinese prisoners of war, but Russian soldiers and others were among the dead as well. A nurse who worked at the facility came forward in 2006. She described helping bury bodies and body parts after Japan's surrender, deliberately hidden to avoid discovery by occupation forces. The bones were never fully identified. The Japanese government declined to conduct a thorough investigation. They remain unaccounted for to this day, held in a government facility in Tokyo with no resolution in sight. The park is still there. The hill is still there. And according to locals, if you climb Hakoneyama after dark, you can sometimes hear what sounds like sobbing drifting through the trees. Whether that is history working on the imagination or something else, nobody agrees. What is not up for debate is what is buried beneath the ground you are standing on. Number 4. Aoyama Cemetery. Minato Ward. Aoyama Cemetery is one of the oldest public cemeteries in Tokyo, established in 1872. During cherry blossom season, it is genuinely beautiful, lined with trees and full of families. It is the kind of place that makes Tokyo feel ancient, in a way the rest of the city sometimes does not. At night, it is something different. Tokyo taxi drivers have a specific story about this cemetery, circulating long enough to be considered fixed folklore. Drivers who pick up passengers near Aoyama late at night describe passengers who give an address, sit silently for the entire journey, and then are no longer in the car when the driver arrives. Some report the back seat is wet. Whether those stories are true is a question nobody can answer. What is true is that Aoyama holds more than 126,000 graves. The weight of that many deaths in one place, accumulated over more than a century and a half, is something that even the most committed skeptic tends to feel when walking those paths after midnight. Number 3. The Sendagaya Tunnel, Shibuya. Beneath the streets of Shibuya, there is a tunnel that was built in a hurry. The year was 1964. Tokyo was weeks away from hosting the Olympic Games, and the city needed infrastructure faster than it could safely be built. The Sendagaya Tunnel was constructed in that rush, and it was built directly underneath the cemetery of Senjuin Temple. The tunnel opened on time. The Olympics proceeded, and the Sendagaya Tunnel has had a reputation ever since that its builders probably should have anticipated before they broke ground under a cemetery. Drivers and pedestrians who pass through the tunnel at night describe seeing a woman with long dark hair standing at the far end, visible in the headlights, and then gone. Others describe her in the rearview mirror, present for a moment in the glass, and then absent. The specific detail of the long dark hair is consistent across accounts. and it connects to one of the oldest figures in Japanese ghost tradition, a woman who died in grief or violence and did not leave. The tunnel is in active use today. Thousands of people pass through it every day without incident. The reports cluster at night, and specifically at the far end, where the cemetery sits closest to the ceiling above. Whether the tunnel carries the weight of what is buried above it, or whether tired drivers are pattern matching against a story they already know, the Sendagaya Tunnel remains one of the most consistently reported locations in Tokyo for encounters that people struggle to explain afterward. Number 2. Sunshine 60, Ikebukuro. There is a 60-story skyscraper in Ikebukuro that houses a shopping mall, an aquarium, a planetarium, and some of the best views of the Tokyo skyline. It is one of the most visited buildings in the city. Families take their children there on weekends. The observation deck sells tickets to tourists every hour. It is built on the exact site of Sugamo Prison. Sugamo Prison was constructed in 1895. After Japan's defeat in World War II, the prison was taken over by Allied forces and used to hold convicted war criminals. 7 of the highest-ranking Class A war criminals in Japanese history were hanged there on December 23, 1948. Among them was former Prime Minister Hideki Tojo. A total of 59 executions took place at Sugamo before it closed. The Soviet spy Richard Sorge was also executed there in 1944, before the war ended. The prison closed in 1962. The buildings were demolished in 1971. Sunshine 60 opened in 1978 and was at that time the tallest building in Japan. In a small park adjacent to the complex, there is a stone monument. The inscription in Japanese reads, "Wishing for eternal peace." It is easy to miss. Most of the millions of people who visit the building every year have no idea what the ground beneath them once was. Workers who were involved in the construction reported unusual experiences during the building process. Reports of sightings in and around the building have continued since it opened. Superstitious locals have always noted that from certain angles, the building looks less like a skyscraper and more like a gravestone. If this is the kind of history that deserves to be told, subscribe. There is a lot more where this came from. Number 1. The grave of Taira no Masakado, Otemachi. In the heart of Tokyo's financial district, surrounded by the headquarters of Japan's largest banks and corporations, there is a small stone grave sitting in the middle of an immaculate garden. Suited executives walk past it every day on their way to work. Nobody moves it. Nobody builds on it. Nobody even suggests it. This is the grave of Taira no Masakado, a samurai who died in the year 940, over 1,000 years ago. Masakado had declared himself the new emperor of Japan and led a rebellion against the imperial court. He was defeated in battle and beheaded. According to legend, his severed head flew through the air all the way from the battlefield to Edo, landing in the place that is now Otemachi, because it refused to accept that it was dead. What followed his burial is the reason nobody moves the grave. Every time someone has disturbed or attempted to relocate the site, people have died. In 1923, the Great Kanto earthquake killed over 100,000 people and destroyed most of the city. In the aftermath, the government attempted to build on the site of Masakado's grave. Officials connected to that decision died in quick succession. A finance ministry official died. A chief cabinet secretary died. Construction stopped. After World War II, American occupation forces attempted to clear the site to build a parking facility. A bulldozer that approached the grave overturned during clearing operations, and the operator was killed. The project was abandoned immediately. Today, the grave sits exactly where it has always been. The financial district was built around it. Twice a year, ceremonies are held to honor Masakado, paid for by the surrounding corporations and banks. The companies do not advertise this. They do not discuss it publicly. They simply pay for the ceremonies, year after year, because the alternative has proven, on multiple occasions, to be significantly worse. 1,000 years after his execution, Taira no Masakado is still there. And Tokyo, one of the most modern cities on Earth, has decided that the most practical response is to leave him alone. Tokyo sits on layers. The neon and the bullet trains and the vending machines and the city that never closes are the surface. Underneath it, the history is still there. The graves, the tunnels, the buildings, and the bones that construction crews keep finding and governments keep declining to explain. That is the city beneath the city, and it is not going anywhere.